Yo, I'm starting to really see, man, why a lot of people this last week have been coming with these posts talking about they quitting the crump, they quitting this, and after overstanding and watching these fucking videos, man, I understand. But what I would tell y'all is this, man. Do your own thinking. Do your own thinking. We live in a different time. We live in a different age. We live in a time and age where information is accessible. If you feel a certain type of way about certain individuals and certain people, call them on it. Understand their source. Understand their source better than them. If a person call themselves a Christian, go to the source. What do they follow? Understand that. If a person call themselves a Muslim, go understand the source so you can understand what you're dealing with. And you hold them people accountable to that source, if that's their source. And leave it alone, man. Like, if you love to crump because you love to crump, do that. And leave it at that. You love to dance, be real with yourself. Practice integrity. Another thing I want to say. Be careful when it comes to wolves in sheep clothing. Because a lot of people, man, they have no idea really what they're doing. Why do you think the statement, forgive them because they know not what they do, is so famous? Well, that's actually in psychology. People cannot act any higher than their own understanding of something. Nobody can act smarter than what they are. And every time a person speaks, you know exactly how much information they have and what they don't have. If you're a mature individual with a little, head on your shoulders. When I was a part of Minister David's cult, because that's exactly what it is. I don't care what people are trying to say now. They're sugarcoating that shit. We were a part of a goddamn cult. That's what it was. Minister David would say, God said this and God said that. And we believed it. And I had to get to the understanding of, well, when the heck is God going to stop putting my business out there and tell me myself so I can know what to do? Why does God have to go through Minister David? I was confused. I was living in fear. And that stuff, I went to that church at 14 years old, man. And I was around that group of people at that time, and I thought that what we were doing was so right. You know what I mean? Like, and in essence, being that a lot of us were good people, we had good intentions, so what we were doing was right, in a sense. But the wrongness comes in because we was depending on David for the message of God versus actually learning the message for ourselves. So I remember going to David, did God say this? Did God say that? Could you tell me if God said this? And no, God didn't say this, or God didn't say that. After it was one point where David started marrying people off in the church, saying that God said this was your wife, this was your husband. And shout out to Lady Rule, rest in peace, her soul, because Lady Rule was the one who actually, the first person who exposed Minister David, because she was working at the shop with him. And she would come back and she would be like, yo, David, Tony, and them, all them dudes are not what you think. And I used to be like, what? She'd be like, nah, them niggas is freaks. Like, excuse my language for those who are sensitive in the ears, but this is the verbatim what she said. They freaks, they nasty, you know what I'm saying? They not who you think. So when it came out that the pastor was, you know, having sexual relations with women in the church, I was no longer a part already. So I just was like, see, it finally came out, because I had already been aware because of what Lauren was telling me, rest her soul. And I know it seemed like I'm just ranting, but it just be irritating, man, when you watch people really sit up there and make bold-faced lie statements about things to sugarcoat shit instead of just saying what it really is. I'm not afraid to tell the truth about what things really was, man. And I'm also not here to say that nobody's perfect or any of those type of things. But what I will say is take accountability for what it is that you do. You know, ain't nobody like people. Oh, man, people will do anything to avoid true accountability, because true accountability puts you in a vulnerable position. And that vulnerable position for that moment is just to say, I messed up. But you're only in that position for that time being. And then it's over with. You grow and you glow. But you gotta take that accountability, man, or things just never, you be stuck. Anyways, y'all, that was my little morning vent. And oh, one more thing. How do you know a true teacher? A true teacher is someone who wants to help you without an ulterior motive. They just want you to grow. The thing about that is that growing is so painful because of the healing that you have to go through. A lot of people touch that fire and run, because now you're dealing with yourself. A lot of people are afraid to deal with themselves because of the pain that comes along with it. But when you grow, when you work out, don't pain come with that workout? It hurt, but the results are amazing. So look, man, don't be afraid to be accountable for what it is that you do. People will tell you things like, I take accountability, and then people bullied me. What the that's wrong thinking. Like, oh man, I could go in. But anyways, on another note too, if y'all got debt that y'all trying to dissolve and get rid of, I'm looking for the people with over $10,000 worth of debt. Come holler at your boy. I've done something and I found out some information that is legal that y'all gonna have to pay for. They're gonna have to pay for. This is real help. Get at me, Rich Boykin.